Welcome to The Great Reboot. I'm Tori Ryden. All over the internet, we're seeing it. People singing. Indeed, the arts seem to be a great way to help heal so many people who are feeling trapped inside. And singing seems to be really surfacing as a great way to not only come together through voice, but also through heart. And our guest today here on the Great Reboot really understands that. Con Fullam is an award-winning producer, musician, and songwriter, combining his passion for music with a very deep concern for the effects of world issues on children. He created a beautiful chorus of children who represent 27 countries, and it's with the help of a lot of folks from every walk of life who are working with this great singing group. It's called the Pihcintu Multicultural Chorus, and it is based out of Portland, Maine. Con Fullam, thank you for joining us here on The Great Reboot. Really great to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Con, you are talented just on so many different levels. I mean, you are an artist, you're an artist, and beyond. I'd love to kind of find out what were the beginnings of Pihcintu, and then I want you to kind of take us through just the different stories of people who are involved with this. I mean, it's a choir of girls from the age of 10 through what age?
Yeah, so about 15 years ago, almost 16 years ago now, I had lunch with an old friend of mine who is the executive director of Catholic Charities, and talking about the challenges that they face. And obviously, number one challenge is the minute you come to a new country, you lose your voice, quite literally. You come in speaking Arabic, you lose your culture, you lose a lot of things that are essential to your life. And so I thought that it would be a great idea to form a chorus, which is universal music, to help these young girls regain and recover their voices. And so it began. We had our first audition on a very cold winter day at Reiki School. About 6 kids showed up. And within a year, we had 40 girls in the chorus, and we're up and active.
So up and active, I mean, it's amazing that there are so many countries represented, and so many, I'm sure you have heard the biggest tragedies that you've ever heard before, and these are young people who have gone through this just to get here to America.
It's fascinating that the girls have never seen themselves as victims. They see themselves as conquerors. And given the kinds of conditions that they've come from, would be very simple to slip into that sort of victim mode. None of them do. And considering the kinds of hardships, and quote, that we're going through now, and certainly they are, compared to what these kids have seen and experienced, it's pretty minor.
So you play a much larger role, I know, in these girls' lives, but let's just talk about right now and what's been the reboot for you with Pihcintu, and how are you able to kind of pivot given social distancing? How are you able to successfully pivot and keep this going?
Good question. We're still trying to figure that out. Clearly, the chorus is all about being together in the same room and sharing music, sharing food, sharing stories. So now, obviously, we have to do this virtually, and we're just starting to figure that out. One of we can certainly put them all together in the virtual room to talk to each other and share stories and have enjoy. The musical end, very challenging, because as we are experiencing now, and everybody is, there's a buffering issue between every different computer. So if they try to sing together, it's like the Tower of Babel. You have 50 screaming voices in total unsync. So we're just now trying to conquer that.
You have this group of, listening to their voices, they just sound like angels. What do they sound like to you? When you listen, what's the feeling that goes through you?
It's a transformative experience for everybody who hears and sees this chorus. They sing from the heart. They sing from the soul. it's evident that they're doing that. All of these girls find music as a major way of expressing who they are, being who they are. And so when you're in a room with that kind of energy and that kind of commitment, it's very powerful.
Would you say that for many of them, singing has become their lifeline?
Yeah, these girls live to sing. I mean, music is immensely important to them on so many levels. I mean, it's curative for them. It's their outlet. It's their way of feeling. You know, when you're in a world that is so different culturally, socially, than the place you came from, it's sometimes very hard to find some sort of footing, some sort of solace. And this chorus gives these girls that kind of environment, to sort of thrive and to be who they are.
Is it fair to say this choir offers a family? Is this more of a family feel that you're trying to kind of perpetuate?
Yeah, by all means. That's far more important than the musical end result. It truly is they're a family. They feel very close to each other. They're very welcoming to new members who come in. They really reach out to each other as friends and family and soulmate.
But what an end result their voices create. You've gone to the Kennedy Center with them. They have sung all over the country, all over the world. Where have they been, and what are you so proud of with them?
Well, and I think probably over the past 15 years, we performed physically for probably 300,000 or 400,000 people. We have performed at the Kennedy Center. We've performed at the United. We do several projects with the UN. We have one currently working with the UN. We worked at the National Cathedral, and on and on. We played venues basically from Washington all the way up and down east. We've been on the Today Show and Voice of America, National Public Radio, and Al Jazeera. We're about to be the subject of a mini documentary by Univision. And we're working with CBS at the moment about getting a segment up with them.
So, Con, what you bring to these young women is you as an artist, you are a writer, you are a creator, you're a musician. I know you've been busy during this stay-at-home order. What have you been doing? Have you been writing? And, how are you impacted by COVID-19? Yeah,
for sure. I've been writing a lot. Certainly this is no blessing, but you got to find, a little lemonade. Over the course of the last several years, my schedule has been very, very tight because I have the chorus and I have Green Light Maine, which is a series out there, and I have several documentary that I'm working on. So there's little time. I have a lot of things on the back burner that are important to me, but just simply have not had the time to do. So I'm taking advantage of that, and I'm working on 2 different books, and I just finished 3 new tunes. And one project that is ongoing with the UN is a song that I wrote for the United Nations High Commission for Refugees around the experience of one of the little girls that I have in the chorus, who had recently come from Namibia 2 years ago with her family. And we were asked to perform for the UN. And so we were in New York. Her mom was on the bus and feared getting off the bus because of the possible ramifications. So her daughter was performing for the General Assembly of the UN, and she couldn't be there to see it. So I wrote a song. The little girl sang it beautifully, and now it's a fundraiser for the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. And if you go to YouTube and type in "somewhere" and Pihcintu, it will pop. Their voices, are you overwhelmed ever at just how beautiful their voices are when they come together? Yeah, always. It's when they sing, it's a striking moment. And our rehearsals can be immensely chaotic and loud and crazy. And you often go, oh my God, I don't know what's going on here. And then all of a sudden they get on a stage and they open up, and it's a sun shining.
So share with us, the meaning behind another song, if you would.
Immensely important to realize that in this chorus, I have girls from cultures that in their own countries are killing each other. And yet here, they're all on the same stage, singing as one. So that's the message. The power is that these kids are, regardless of backgrounds, regardless of religions, regardless of cultures, they sing as one, as a chorus.
Do you feel like you're helping to shape the future peacemakers? I mean, are these, obviously they are the future, but do you feel that you are helping to raise up problem solvers, like global peacemakers?
Well, I'm not sure I'm doing anything, but I know that I'm dealing with kids who are. So whatever I'm doing, that's great. But yeah, these are future leaders. These are kids who take advantage of every opportunity they're given. 85% of my girls, over 300, have gone on to post-secondary education. 100% have graduated from high school. Pretty staggering number. And that's because of sheer will and determination.
I know that you're going to argue with this and you're going to be too modest about this, but I understand you spend a lot of time helping these young ladies out and helping to problem solve and helping to make sure that they're able to get to their obligations that they need to. If they have appointments, you help to make sure they get to where they need to go. This is more than just you as a choir director.
Yeah, well, I do what I can for them. I'm immensely connected to them and devoted to them, and I feel that whatever I can do to help them along their path to glory, I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
So what's next? And what, I guess I'm wondering, is there anything out of this shift that you're going to take and use as you go forward?
Yeah, I think eventually just the gratitude that we can get in the same room and sing again. I mean, and understanding how important that really is. When you're in it day to day, sometimes you take things for granted that we just do it. This obviously has painted a very different picture, and it's you miss doing it, and understand how important it is.
So Con, as you're working with them, many of these kids have been, just like the rest of the world, isolated at home, isolated from one another. I understand they just very recently came back together, virtually, of course. And we're excited, as we can all imagine, to be back together. You had mentioned, that they're really more like a family. What was that like for you, and what was their excitement level to see one another after so many days and weeks apart?
Yeah, it was a very touching moment because you said it, they do see themselves as family. They do miss each other a lot. And they haven't seen each other since the 2 days after we came back from a performance at the UN. So they were all pretty pumped about that and had great rides back and a lot of great experiences to share. And then bang, the curtain came down. So literally, over a month, 6 weeks, almost 2 months now since they've seen each other. So yeah, there was a lot of pretty happy chatter.
What do you hear from members of the United Nations? Do you ever receive notes from members of the UN, or I guess I just wonder, what kind of feedback do you get?
Well, the last performance that we did was at the request of Bono, of U2, and the Irish Mission. And we were invited down because the Irish government and U2 is launching a new worldwide educational initiative called Drive for Five. It will be part of an initiative, a worldwide initiative to guarantee all girls K through 12 free education. And so we were there. Bono was there, UN Secretary General, former President of Ireland. Was quite an astounding and astute audience, and they were giving us a rousing standing ovation. It was pretty cool.
What was the song that they sang, or were there several?
We actually did two. One was You Raised Me Up, which is a song written by two Irish fellows. and the other was an Irish song that the kids had to learn in 24 hours in Irish. So it was pretty fascinating, called Chocolat. Quite an experience for them.
That must have been. Gaelic is not an easy language to learn.
But it's actually Irish, not Gaelic.
Irish.
If you ask the Irish, it's Irish.
Even harder.
It was a challenge for them, but they rose to it. They did it beautifully, and it was great.
Wow. I can't even imagine. 24 hours. That's amazing. And they were able to all come together and bring their voices together and singing Irish.
Yeah, they had an
Wow.
8-hour rehearsal. If I had tried to get them to do an 8-hour rehearsal, I'd be hung by my neck. But there was this astoundingly brilliant choral director from Ireland who flew over, and they rose to the occasion, and they did it. It's quite brilliant.
Wow. Well, it just sounds like you've got so many great projects that are ahead of you. You said you've written a couple of books as well. I mean, this downtime has really been pretty powerful for you.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, it's getting a little long in the tooth, but yes, we continue to plug along as we all do.
What would you suggest to people who are just really kind of getting at the end of the rope, not knowing, what to do? I mean, is it music? Is it playing music? That turn off the TV and play some music? What can help kind of soothe people or help them get through this?
Well, certainly this 24-hour news cycle of death, destruction, and chaos is not helpful to anyone. You can turn it on for 5 minutes in the morning and turn it on for 5 minutes at night and get all you need to know. And that's enough. You really have to find ways from within yourself. Get out, walk, run, do exercise, paint, sing, do things that are good for the soul, bake, whatever it is that makes you happy. Find that moment, find that thing. You gotta rejoice, right?
You got to shift your brain over, is what I keep saying.
You do, for sure.
Have you had any concerts that you've had to cancel? Anything coming up that you had planned that you're now looking ahead and wondering, gee, are we going to be able to do that?
Yeah, we've had to cancel several shows. Literally, we were supposed to turn around and go back to the UN 2 weeks after we came back. So that was instantly canceled. We've had probably 15 shows that have been canceled. Supposed to be at the National Cathedral the end of June. I don't think that will happen. And then we were supposed to do a show with the Portland Symphony Orchestra on July 4th. Don't know where that is. And then we generally take off, a little hiatus between July and August. So, the shows are coming in heavily now for next fall, and we certainly hope to be able to meet their schedule. But we don't know. Who knows? It's a brave new world.
That it is. I can't tell you, Con, I just marvel at the fact that you, I'm not going to say wrangle, you bring together in such a beautiful way people who speak, I don't even know, how many languages are you dealing with these girls?
Certainly, I think that now it wouldn't be difficult to say that we have the kids represent maybe 20 languages. And often, many of my kids are multilingual. I mean, I have the little girl I just spoke of earlier from Namibia, who is the star of this song that we did, speaks 5 languages. So, and it's not unusual for these kids to speak at least 2 or 3 languages.
What's your big lesson that you've learned from them? What's your, if you had to kind of sum it up, what have you learned from them?
Very lucky and fortunate I am to live the life I've lived, and to be fortunate enough to have a sense of reality, and a greater sense of what the world is all about. We can tend to be very isolated as people, and we tend to sort of look at things on the news and it becomes fiction. With the experience that I've had with these girls and their families, the greater world become a very, very strong reality.
If people want to learn more about you, your group, or listen to some of your music, where could they? Is there a website where they could listen? They can go to.
Sure. Uh, for anyone who would like to find more about the chorus, they can simply go to the web and type in PIHCINTU.org. And by the way, Pihcintu, the name of the chorus, is derived from a Passamaquoddy Indian word meaning when they sing, their voices carry far. Indeed, they have.
Well, Con Fullam, I can't thank you enough for joining us here on the Great Reboot, and I love what you're doing with these young women and for them and helping to lead their voices globally. It's absolutely beautiful.
I'm very grateful for your time, and it was a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you. It's the good work you're doing.
Somewhere there's a place for me. Somewhere where I can be. Somewhere, a place of peace and harmony. A place where everyone can be. Somewhere where we all can live together. Can you believe what I believe? Can you wish the same as me? Can you? That somehow we can make us whole. One heart, one mind, one dream, one soul. A place where everyone can live together. 'Cause if we believe, then we can achieve. We can be anything on earth we want to be. Just follow the sun, wish on the stars, and let love define the people that we are. May we walk the road to find that place together. May we be as one beneath our sun together. May we make the bells of freedom ring. May we find a single song to sing. May we cherish every living thing together. 'Cause if we believe, then we can achieve. We can be anything on earth we want to be. Just follow the sun, then wish on the stars, and let love define the people that we are. Somewhere